We're a faith-based organization and we have our rules of engagement very clearly. Someone like Alhaji Aliko Dangote, I've only had to sit with him maybe once or twice, but I remember the question that he asked me in November of 2010, and he said to me that, "Are you sure you can deliver this?" And I said, "Yes, Alhaji." Redemption Camp, for instance, has been off national grid since 2010. Canaan Land Community has been off national grid since 2015. So why can't a state capital, why can't a local government, why can't a community, a private university or a national university, why can't Unilag be off national grid? That you create something and you see it come to life. It's not just, it's the greatest reward. And one of my greatest appreciation in life up to this moment is every time I drive from Lagos towards Redemption Camp, and you see all the darkness all the way, and then you get to Redemption Camp, you see the light everywhere. You know, you have a feeling that, I mean, you provided the solution, and the same thing I like to see from community across Africa, and this is one of the things that we're working on. My name is Ayodele Ikumakwayi. I have the privilege to be the MD of the company. The company is ASB Valiant Company Limited. It's a parent company of a host of other company businesses. ASB Valiant is an integrated energy solution and power plant engineering company. We are primarily into energy solutions and offering power solutions also within the space. We also provide EPC services, which is engineering, procurement and construction services. We play in the power sector and also in the building services, where we offer MEP services, which includes mechanical, electrical, plumbing services, as well as HVAC services, which is heating, ventilation and air conditioning. So we're primarily an integrated engineering and energy solution company. We try to be a one-stop shop, offering a solution. We are primarily focused as a project company, not just to perform activities or sell equipment. We look at requirements and try to provide solution in the power and energy space. The company is a product of circumstance. My background is oil and gas, and I am primarily a mechanical engineering technician, and I used to work on engines, turbines, pumps. But sometime in 2005, 2006, there are some developments in the oil and gas industry. Then I used to work with Shell, and so I had a cause to relocate my family from the Niger Delta. Then I live in Warri, then I moved to one of the Christian communities in the Southwest, precisely Redemption Camp. And moving to that community, I observed that the way electricity is being provided there, during the day you don't have electricity, and in the night. So that prompted me to try to find out why. And I discovered that, one, there was poor electric power supply from the national grid. My findings then in 2008 indicates that it's an average of about 41 hours in a month. And I felt, and in the night they have multiple gas and diesel generators, about 1,000 kVA and numerous other capacities. And I felt that I can see the waste, I can see the high cost of maintenance. So, and I advised if they could set up a central power station. And just as a matter of suggestion, and like the story of Joseph in the Bible, so you interpret the dream and then you are asked to work the dream. And with that, I was part of how to lead a team to deploy an industrial gas turbine solution to provide power for the community. And the project was between July 2009 and finally commissioned in August 2010. And after delivery of the project, I just started feeling that I've achieved a great feat in life then, and felt it could be offered somewhere else. And there are some interest that came up, and I was also being recommended to another Christian community to offer them similar solutions, but they had a different ideas, which is looking at a contract consideration rather than a voluntary service. And because I was still working then with Shell and was advising them, and they felt that there is option if I want to participate, and I felt, why not express interest? So during our engagement, it then dawned on me that we also have to engage Shell for gas supply. And just being naive, I'm a Shell staff, I have to engage Shell for gas, and I'm pursuing a contractual obligation. So I felt it's going to be a conflict of interest. And I choose to resign from my employment. But unfortunately, as soon as I tendered my resignation, the community said they are no more doing the project. So it became a big blow, but I felt that there was just the market will require this product. And I started with 1 or 2 other people, started doing some aggressive marketing. And within 2 months, I came across an opportunity then by Dangote, and that was in October of 2010, who was looking for a service provider that can deploy on a fast track, a 10 to 13 megawatts project. So my experience during the project for Redemption Camp gave me the idea that it's something that we can do. But for Redemption Camp project, it was just a personal community service, so it was not a company. So we have to form the company. The company already had been incorporated in 2007, but not really just defining yet what we're going to do. So and then I engaged the Dangote team, and with other competitors, they evaluated what I had done, because then the company, it was not the company we had done, and they felt that why not? So now we have a company, we have an office, and they did some due diligence on us. And by November of 2010, I met with Alhaji Aliko Dangote, and he asked very frankly if we were able to deliver this solution. I said yes. So and he gave us the opportunity, and by May 2011, we had our first project delivered as an organization. The person that can answer it is not here, and that is my wife. She chose it, but I can say a bit about it. The name Valiant. So how did that come up? Valiant came out of the story of David and the experience in the cave of Adullam. When he was in very bad shape, he had to run to the cave of Adullam, and people ran to him. And then, over time, those people who are weak, who are poor, who are debtors, they grew up to become the valiant men of David. And so, when we are starting this organization, that's first of all what came at the back of our mind. So we saw this maple leaf shape, and it's a single one. And he said, no, let's make it a V. So the V is the valiant. It's something that you can rest on. So it's just something that is strength. And then the color, you see the one side is green, and the left side is green, the right side is red. And it's because red represents blood, and blood is life. Life gives strength, and green is about nourishment, it's about growth. So the vision for ASB Valiant is to make the company a 100% indigenous service provider to solve the power problems that I grew up seeing and understood it's a major challenge in Nigeria, and over time I've seen across Africa, maybe in other continents as well, but more across Africa. So my vision for ASB Valiant is to be at the forefront of providing cost-effective, environmental friendly, and reliable solutions, power solutions, to be able to power communities. And the strategy for us is not looking at large-scale projects. When I mean large-scale, looking at maybe projects for national grid. It's taking one community, one settlement at a time. But the vision is to be able to take this across Africa and providing electricity in Africa. Our strength as a company is knowledge, knowing what we do and staying with what we do. Our other strength is passion. We're passionate about what we do. We're solution oriented. We're not just a project company. And that is why one of our strategy is to take from concept, help to develop what idea. So it's to be able to ensure that you domesticate the solution, have the fuel, have everything, so that it can be sustainable. You cannot rely on a foreign resource to be able to make, to guarantee sustainability. Our other strength, and I'll make both to say this, is also is that we're a faith-based business organization, and we're proud to say that because it helps our ethics. So we have high ethical level. We don't do every project. We look at value addition. So that's also additional strength that we have as an organization. And then we have a great team. And I think passion has also driven our teams to see, because we are an organization that require versatility. So you can say, this is what I do. So if you talk to, for instance, our finance personnel, you can talk to you in engineering terms. You talk to our admin person, because everybody is carried along, is carried on board, and they can see themselves. Our partnership with various original equipment manufacturers is a bit strategic. And why? Because we know we are limited in capacity and knowledge. So as the visionary of the founder of the business, I first of all leverage on my skill. What do I know and what are we trying to develop? So having had those background knowledge and experience in some products, so we started up working with a major renowned global industry leading manufacturer, which is Caterpillar. They have an aspect of their business which is industrial gas turbine generation. So when we started up with them, we were not interested in, we want to buy equipment from you. We want to be your partner locally to offer this solution. And we secured that partnership in 2010. And as when we started with that, then we started looking at what other value can come out of this solution. For instance, you run your generators and you have the smoke going out, you have the hot water. You can use that, because that's a heat source, for another solution for air conditioning. So we look at all other support services. Today, we are responsible for 6 global industry manufacturers here in Nigeria. We have solar turbines. Now we've also added 2 additional gas turbine manufacturers. Solar turbines manufacture between 3.5 to 21 megawatts. We have another company out of the Netherlands. Solar turbine is based in San Diego in the United States, in the state of California, United States. We then have another manufacturer called Opera Turbines out of Engelo in the Netherlands. And just last year, we went into relationship with another company based out of the US as well, who manufactures micro turbines. So that's on the gas turbine side. But to supply the gas turbines, we also require fuel. So, and the quality of the fuel are very important. So, and we check globally for prospective manufacturer of this kind of product, and we finally settle with one. And so we are responsible for them, not just to offer their solution for our projects, but also looking at where it can make some difference in the marketplace. And the same thing also, so we have a company called NA Project out of Switzerland. And on the air conditioning side, we are currently also responsible for 2 different types of solutions. One is electric chillers systems, and then one is non-electric. And the reason for that is that because you see some consumers are completely on island mode. They are not connected to the national grid. They run their diesel generators. And if you look at an average facility, air conditioning takes about 40 to 50% of that load. So what you want to do is that instead of spending money to burn fuel for 40% of electric load, you can take just 40%, 50% that you need for your electricity, and take the waste exhaust that you are burning and use that heat to generate a cooling system that will. So it's cost saving. We are really driven by cost saving. Now we're pushing it further to say, okay, we're looking at green solution. But more importantly for us, especially here in Africa, as much as we talk green, we look at cost first, and then that is driving. So these are various OEMs that we are working with. Royce out of Italy, and then Broad Air Conditioning out of China. They're strategic because we're not just into selling product, we are offering their solutions to the marketplace. We consider selecting partners first on the services that we think our market needs and the space that we operate. We are, for instance, a power solution company. Now, we are not to be an equipment supplier, we are to offer solution. So we then look at who is offering this kind of product and who has offered it reputably. So our consideration is cluster based. We want to be able to, because one of the things also that I really that I'm displeased with is the noise of generators. It gets me just completely uncomfortable. So so when you're seeing somebody who has done it, and I have a personal philosophy, I believe in inventions and I love inventions, but I don't think Africa need any. I don't believe Africa need any. What you need is copy and paste. So if somebody has done it successfully, what you can do is approach him or her and then copy what he has done, and you can improve on that. The way I see the energy market in Nigeria and Africa is really sometimes unconventional. People talk about growth, and I ask what growth? Because I'm sorry to say this, we're not even existing in the energy space. I'll give you a typical example. Africa today, they say we're about 1.2 billion people. I don't have the data, but I'll use that of Nigeria. Nigeria, we're about 200 million people. And we said we're generating about 5,000 megawatts. And every time I see that in the dailies, and people say, oh, we're doing well on TCN and the Ministry of Power, and they're doing a lot, they're putting a lot of money. But I feel sad. I feel sad because if you put the entire power generated today into Lagos, it cannot even serve Lagos. That is one. Brazil has the same population. Brazil has an installed capacity of 165,000 megawatts and operating around, because about 70% of their power is hydro, and they're operating around about 80 to 85,000 megawatts. Same population. Nigeria today has enough gas reserve, if I'm not totally correct, that will power half of Africa, if not all of Africa. What are we doing with the gas? We cannot do it, power ourselves. So, and then we have coal today that can do about 30% of Nigerian power. And people say, no, coal is very dirty. As we are speaking right now, Dubai is concluding a 3,000 megawatts coal-fired power plant. It's the fall in the entire Middle East. The emission level is better than that of a gas power plant. So when I see somebody in Gombe or in Benue is waiting for power to come from Kanji Dam, I see it as stupidity. You are sitting on a coal that can power at least half of Nigeria, even all of Nigeria. At its current capacity, can power all of Nigeria. But as we grow, maybe not enough. So you go to the Kanjis, you have that. You come to the south, you have the gas. Each region should look at what do I have. Why should I sit in Abuja and be thinking that somebody should give me power from Benin? The south, southwest, if they have the gas that's used to power, the north center sit on, if you go to Kogi, the coal deposit in Kogi is unimaginable. So these are the kind of thing that I see. And what I just try to promote basically is that, see, look inwards. In 2006, I was offshore working on a facility, and on the 11th of January 2006, the facility was attacked. I was on board 3:30 in the afternoon. We were 74 of us on board. The facility is like a ship, so it's an FPSO. They attacked it, but thank God it didn't catch fire. If they had caught fire that day, I won't be alive to say this story. So, and as soon as I came out of offshore that day, I knew that my days are numbered, because can you take this risk further? Between 2010 and 2014, we had a very great period. Within that period, we built cumulatively about 150 megawatts, about 6 different power plants, and things were moving in. But two things set in. In late 2014, if you could recall, there was the Naira devaluation towards the Q4, and we're in the midst of a live project. We're covered by contract. One of the things we've come to realize is that as much as you have contract, especially depending on the structure that you have for your project, sometimes clients don't honor contracts. So in the midst of a project, we have the dollar devaluation, we have to get clients engaged, and the clients were just not willing to take obligation. And so, but because we've got our own in-house philosophy, irrespective of the condition, we must deliver. So, does that mean that, okay, even if the client doesn't pay, as much as possible, we want to make the client to see the value, because oftentimes they deal with you starting with trust. So that trust should now not be jeopardized because of either your financial rewards and everything. So you need to do that. So we were doing this. So by 2015, a lot of our receivables were not coming in, and we were growing close to about 80 personnel operation. We have our own, we do from concept to commissioning, so a lot of engineers, feed activities. So revenue was dwindling, and by end of 2016, we have to make a determination to say, as it is today, we cannot continue, because we were anticipating that our receivables will come in, and they were not coming in, and we didn't want to. We're also hopeful of some opportunities, which also, one or two are even concluded, waiting for mobilization. We're also not mobilized. So for almost a year, we have people on the payroll, and there are no revenues coming in. And so by end of 2016, I then have to meet with the management team to say, as it is, we need to freeze our operation, and we need to declare zero salary. So please, so that you don't keep people hopeful, because one of the things about it is that because people show up at work, they don't sometimes really care if there was money to pay or not to pay. They have their entitlement, and that is very clear. So making that decision was a very tough one. It was the toughest business decision I have to learn on the job. The shocking thing was that almost 80% of the personnel did not go. They are taking on board the vision of the company. They could see the prospect, because people are being trained, people are sent to different OEMs training facilities. So they believe in the vision, the passion was there, but money was not coming in. And then after a couple of months, a few numbers left, but yet our situation did not improve. So by end of 2017, we have had in excess of millions salary arrears, which then I have to say to myself, even if we have the best of intention, I'm accruing debt for the company. Even if they start to pay this money, you have to start to clear this. So by December 31st, 2017, I have to completely declare a shutdown of the business, but not our office, so that everybody at least disengaged. So we had to do what is called a structured winding down. So we engage a company who had to go through our processes, what the challenges are, what the issues are. And then after they did that, so by 31st of December, we asked everybody to go. But can I surprise you? People are still coming to work. And by January, so end of February, we have to make it mandatory. So I only have my personal assistant and an HR officer that we had. In the midst of those challenges, so I had to travel in March of 2018. And I was also doing the development effort for myself, at least to improve on the business. I was entering a session, and I think precisely I was in Zurich. I remember I was in Zurich. I was entering a session in the Monday morning when I saw a repeated phone call from my PA saying that there's a problem. And what is that? Our landlady had secured a court injunction against us and evicted us from the building. And everything it's not expected. It's a place that we've paid a lot of money. We were evicted, and they sent me pictures. Our police came in, asked them to leave the building, pack our things outside. 18th of March 2018. And throughout that week, all I could just say was, why? And you are probably owing less than 10 million, and you have receivables of over 8 billion. So you can just match both together. And with them, and I think fortunately, while I was away, it also gave me some opportunity, some time to also reflect. And I said to myself, when I return to the country, I will never go back to that building. There is a side that's also a bit challenging, which also may be, so I don't never go to that building. And so I came back to the country. They gave me the update, look at that my office was not touched. So we're trying to run around if I could raise some money and just pay this off, and then we can even pick up some things. Nothing was coming in. You talk to people left, right, and center, like nothing was happening. And I just completely left everything, whatever will happen. And I had also this philosophy that whatever height that God allows you to get to is the minimum that God can deal with you on. So it means, so I have that, there's a few things that drives me, and so with that, I continue to do whatever efforts we are making in the marketplace, consulting, but cash was not coming in. And by August of 2000, so May of 2018, we made some efforts. One of our projects, they called us and said, okay, we need to look at how we go back to site. Okay, can you get us paid? They are not paying money. But when we then, by August, when we got the invitation to resume back to site, by September they will mobilize us. We already, I personally already lost the interest to go back to that building. Everything we had there, a ward in my office, everything about the company were taken away. Some things I learned were sold and go. But I made up my mind, whatever thing it is, we will pay whatever thing. But I was not interested in a court case. I don't like legal, I don't like court issues and go. But that period, so we became officeless from March 18th, 2018. So I have to go back to working all employees out. So working from my office. If there's anything, I can call one or two personnel who will show up. They were committed, the personnel were committed, but we don't have an office, there was no salary. So if there's anything, I send across to them. And that continued until 2019. An opportunity came for us, and some of those who have had the knowledge of what our company is into, what we have done, and they felt that, oh, we have an opportunity in Abuja, what do you think of it? And we expressed interest. And September of 2019, we had a lifeline. This is a college of experience, because again, some things also drive the way I look at business. I know there are dry seasons, there are wet seasons. But during the dry season, why did we not have, when things were booming, why did not have reserve? And I said, no, we had reserve, but you didn't know how long the farming would be. There are something that I saw, for instance, where our office was, in that building, for instance. You have to go back to history. What has happened? Because we were on the 4th floor building, and one of the questions I asked is that, can I get the history of this place? And I learned the first company that operated in that building was a company called Foley Communication, who used to be the owners of Daily Times. And I know what happened to them. We met a company in that place called Lloyd Adansi. Lloyd Adansi was a great facility management company, getting projects from Fortune 500 companies in Nigeria and co. And when we moved to the building, we first of all moved to the 1st floor. Because they had to leave the 1st floor. Later we took the ground floor, and then we took their final 3rd floor. In the same way that we were evicted was the same way that we were evicted. And one of the things I learned about that is that, this is not being superstitious. It's just about understanding, again, from the religious perspective. And it drives my own judgment that sometimes the land you operate is very, very crucial, and you need to understand what has happened. Because you can say it's a coincidence. The first company operated 3-4 years and folded up. The second one, 3, 4, 5 years folded up. And then you are there, the same cycle. So it was something that you have to pray about, you have to seek God's face to say, I understand. When we moved here, I asked a question, what company was here before? And I was told this place was built by Saipem, even though they don't own the land. So Saipem built this building, so we're moving here, we made everything here. What has happened to Saipem? Saipem has moved from here, they've become bigger, and then they've moved to Ligalayonide in Arc Towers. So there are histories that have become very, very interesting to you, and not an history of, oh, this one happened, it folded up, that one happened, it folded up. Check it, you are likely, you fast, you pray, you anoint everywhere. But if it's not a land if it's a land that is cursed, a land that is cursed. So that's some of the things that I've also come to learn in business. I think the first person I will appreciate will be Pastor Adeboye. He didn't get to meet me, he didn't get to know me, but he heard about what I offered, and he gave a nod. It was a risk, it's a lot of money, and to the glory of God. And then same also goes for Bishop David Oyedepo. I have to call them because these are clients. These are people that you have worked for. So it's not just on religious level. We want to entrust this to you, and let's see. Now, if it had failed, it also would have been a risk that they have taken. Then I also will call someone like Alhaji Aliko Dangote. I've only had to sit with him maybe once or twice, but I remember the question that he asked me in November of 2010. I can't pick the exact day. And he said to me that, are you sure you can deliver this? And I said, yes, Alhaji. He didn't have to look at a 10 years history or a 2 years history. He just had a recommendation on a reference plan, and he gave that. So for all of those who, first of all, gave us the opportunity to express, a lot of commendation goes to them. And I also want to tell you that, in all sincerity, I will appreciate my wife. And I'll tell you why that. You see, you can have all the ideas, I want to take a risk. If you don't have the right support system, mentally, emotionally, to be able to. I remember when I was about to leave Shell, she was the only person that knew I was going to leave Shell. Because if I say that to my extended family, they will think I'm mad. Because there is no project, there is no contract. And then people feel that, okay, you are in the oil and gas, so this is the best platform you can be. But in recent years, I've also come to appreciate every organization that has given us opportunity. The current governor of Ogun State, for instance, is also somebody that is Mr. Dapo Abiodun, also somebody who offered us an opportunity. So all our clients today, we've also looked at how can we even get better in the marketplace. So today we're looking at not just where we can offer power projects, but looking at, because of the challenge of fund availability, can we then deploy on our own and then offer that solution? And we see various organizations giving us those opportunities, and I think I want to commend them. Today we're out of Nigeria to the country of Chad, and among the many people that made that happen, and somebody who has made that work, is a young man. His name is Mr. Mustafa Alimadu Sharif. And I also have to mention specifically because Africans really don't trust Africans, because Africans has failed Africans. So when people then say, okay, I am taking the risk because of you, you must know the weight that it is. There are so many other people that have been mentors. I mean, there are people I learned from directly and indirectly. I can't mention everybody, but I have to mention those strategic people, because it is one thing for people to hear you say, to see what you have done, and to say, okay, I'm going to take the risk on this just because of what your company is doing. There are options. We are not the only company that is offering our solution, the service we are providing, but we are unique in our offerings. We are also committed, so and we like to see things through. So these are the things. I don't like to talk about politically exposed people, so I don't want to appreciate any politically exposed person. So, but we appreciate people who have given us opportunity to express ourselves and then to offer our solutions to them.